Hi friends. Wanted to introduce today a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is high sensitivity, or in the terminology of Elaine Ahrens, who is sort of the pioneering researcher who really popularized this concept, the highly sensitive person, or HSP. This is something that I think is so important to highlight because it's something that many of us possess but are often not aware of until a crisis occurs. And knowing that for whatever reason, the vast majority of folks who I wind up working with are HSPs and or empaths, which is another amazing topic that we will touch on in the not too distant future. But many of you don't realize that you are. So want to just run through briefly what some of those traits are. Maybe you'll find yourself in them, maybe you won't, but maybe you'll recognize a friend or colleague or family member who this sounds like, and hopefully this framework and this language can kind of validate what that experience is and give you a jumping off point to do some continued research on if you think it's helpful. So when we're talking about highly sensitive people, typically these are folks who are deeply attuned to nature. They need a lot of quiet time to recharge. They feel really, really depleted in crowds, in loud, noisy situations. So like going to concerts and music festivals or malls is like, or stadiums is kind of like a living hell for these folks. They may enjoy the entertainment going on, but the sensory experience of being there is quite taxing. Very attuned to slight fluctuations in light and sound and the weather, often insomniacs. They're very, very moved by art, by any type of beauty, natural or man-made. They tend to have lower pain tolerance, or at least are more attuned to fluctuations in their body, and often get labeled as hypochondriacs. And generally have a difficult time with things like violence or conflict in the movies, on the news, things like that. And so it's very, very challenging and taxing for these folks to kind of keep up with many of the ways of relating and interacting that are kind of seen as just standard normal stuff in our society. That doesn't mean these people are weak. That doesn't mean they're complainers. Oftentimes they're extra resilient and are really downplaying the discomfort that some situations that other people find normal brings to them. So if any of this is ringing any bells, do go ahead, just look up HSP, highly sensitive people, online. There's tons of great research out there. Again, most of it originated at least by Elaine Ahrens, who's an amazing researcher. Why I think this is so important is because, like I said, many of us do not realize that we have these traits until a crisis happens, until we have overtaxed ourselves. We've really fried our nervous systems, which are more sensitively calibrated than the average person. We've really overdone it, and that's when nervous breakdowns can happen, health crises can happen, depression, anxiety, all sorts of health issues arising from chronic stress can take hold when we're not aware that this is something that we're dealing with. It can cause a lot of turmoil and stress in relationships when we don't understand what's happening to us. We know we feel different, but we don't know why, and we can't articulate it, so we think we're crazy. Maybe our partners or roommates or family think that we're crazy too, because we just need more downtime. We need more quiet. We need more space. We need more plants. We need more peace than the average person to recharge. That doesn't mean it's a weakness. It's actually being more attuned, more sensitive, more aware to what's going on. It doesn't mean we're inventing these things. We're not hallucinating. We're not living in a fantasy world. We're actually more dialed in to our surroundings, to our context of the people around us than the average person. So it's actually a superpower if you look at it that way, but you need to know what you're dealing with. You need to be aware that it's a thing for you, and then you can take care of yourself and meet those needs and modify your environment and your lifestyle in ways that are conducive to playing into that strength rather than sapping and draining you. So give this a little bit of thought. Be curious to hear in the comments if this is something that resonates with you or maybe with a loved one, someone you know. And in another video sometime soon, we can talk about what are some strategies to deal with that and ways to celebrate the amazing gifts that come with high sensitivity. So take care, give it some thought. I'll talk to you soon.